In today's video, I'm going to show you how to take your nice, beautiful Street Glide and tear it down to this. If you want to know how to take off your fairing or take off your tank, we're going to cover those things in the video today. The tank's pretty easy to take off. You have 2 bolts in the front, you have 2 bolts in the back, and a couple other things like the gas line, but the gas line has a quick release valve on it, makes it pretty easy to take off.
There are quite a few trim pieces, not to mention all the hardware you'll be removing in this process, so I suggest laying out a blanket or a table to help keep everything organized in one place. To remove the fuel line from the tank, simply slide up the silver sleeve on the coupling and the fuel line will drop out. Remove an electrical connection and a tank breathing hose and you're ready to remove the tank. There's no need to drain all the fuel from the tank. However, the less fuel you have in there, the lighter it is to move around. You can start by removing the trim piece below the dash, where you'll find a couple of electrical connectors after removing the screws that hold it in place. Next, you'll remove the turn signal brackets. Once you remove the 2 screws in the bracket, you'll find an electrical connection behind it, releasing the turn signal.
You need to remove the front of the fairing, and you can do that by removing 2 torque screws on either side, on the back of the fairing, and then 3 along the top of the windshield.
Once you remove the front of the fairing, you'll need to remove the 2 electrical connections for the low and high beam of the headlamp.
That's awful lot of grunting. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff to disconnect here under the fairing. What you want to do is take a picture so that you have a reference later to refer to in case you don't remember where things plug back in, which is highly likely.
It may seem overwhelming when you see all the electrical connections inside the fairing, but truth be told, it's pretty easy to figure out how to separate the fairing from the frame. And don't worry about putting it all back together, because Harley was smart enough to make all the connectors unique, so you're not in danger of plugging something into the wrong connector. The last trim piece you'll need to remove is on the front of the bike, held in place by 2 screws. Okay, 1 more bolt on each side and you're ready to remove the fairing. Tilt the fairing back at a 45-degree angle and then lift straight out.
Voila! Piece of cake. Okay, at this point we're going to drain all the fluid out of the hydraulic clutch and the front brakes. We're going to empty out the lines and the master cylinders before we remove them from the handlebars. If you're not familiar with how to drain your brake lines or your master cylinder, click on this link and I'll walk you through the steps on how to do that.
Remove the transmission cover and it will reveal a bleeder valve where you can drain the master cylinder and the line for your hydraulic clutch.
There are 4 lines to remove. The 3 banjo fittings at the ABS unit and the 1 at the clutch is easy to find. The other 4 are the 2 brake calipers and then the master cylinders for the clutch and for the brake. You have to remove the banjo fittings and bolts from the ABS unit. There's not a lot of clearance for the bolts, but you definitely can get them out without removing the ABS unit.
After you remove all the banjo fittings, there are a couple of plastic brackets that keep the lines organized and attached to the bike. Unattach the lines from the brackets and you can completely remove the lines from the bike.
Alright, once you get this mess off the bike, it's time for the fun.
Remove a couple of bolts on the handlebar clamp and you're home free.
Voila! We still have one connected.
This is the first in a series of videos to show you how to install some new handlebars on your Street Glide. In the next video, we're going to start the installation process. We're using Magnum Shielding's handlebar installation kit, which comes with everything you need to do this job. Until next time, I'm Chainsaw from Granite City Riders. Thanks for watching.